Let me tell you something most people won't say out loud. We are sitting on nuclear power, and we don't even know it. Sexual energy isn't just about pleasure. It's not just biology. It's raw, primal creative force. It is life force. The same energy that can create life can also be transmuted to create your life. It's about taking the fire inside and forging yourself into something unbreakable. You master your energy, you master your mind. You master your mind, you master your life. Stay hard. Stay focused. Stay hungry. Sexual energy is the most misunderstood and underestimated force in the world. From the moment we hit puberty, we're told to manage it, control it, or hide it, but rarely are we taught the truth that this energy is the very foundation of life itself. It's not just about sex. It's not just about desire. It's creation in its purest form. The same force that can bring a new human being into existence carries the potential to birth new ideas, businesses, art, focus, discipline, and transformation. When we realize that sexual energy is life force, we stop treating it as something shameful or disposable. We start treating it as sacred. Think about it. Every major spiritual tradition, every high-performance philosophy, every path to self-mastery speaks of energy, prana, chi, spirit, will. In modern terms, we might call it drive, motivation, flow, or presence, but underneath all those names is the same thing, an inner fire. And sexual energy is the core of that fire. It is the fuel of vitality. It gives you physical strength, mental clarity, and emotional depth if you learn how to respect and harness it. The problem is most people are wasting it every day. Porn, casual encounters, compulsive behaviors, they leak this precious energy constantly, chasing momentary highs and sacrificing long-term power. And they don't even realize it. They wonder why they feel tired, unfocused, foggy, unmotivated. It's because they've drained the very source of their life force. They've treated it like a cheap thrill instead of a sacred tool. It's like having a nuclear reactor and using it to power a flashlight. That's the tragedy. But when you begin to honor your sexual energy, everything changes. You begin to feel more alive. Your body becomes sharper. Your mind becomes clearer. Your confidence grows not from ego, but from alignment. You're no longer being pulled in 100 directions by urges and impulses. You are centered. You are calm. You are powerful. You're not repressing your energy, you're holding it. You're circulating it. And over time, you start to see the difference between being a slave to desire and being a master of your life. Sexual energy is not meant to be feared, it's meant to be transformed. Every great piece of art, every invention, every act of leadership or discipline, that sexual energy channeled into purpose. You can feel when someone has it. They walk with presence, they speak with power, they live with fire in their soul. They aren't controlled by the world, they're creators of their world. It's important to understand mastering sexual energy doesn't mean becoming celibate or denying your nature. It means becoming conscious. It means choosing where and how to invest your energy. It means realizing that every time you say no to a fleeting urge, you're saying yes to something greater, to your mission, to your purpose, to your higher self. The energy is already within you. You were born with it. It's not something you need to seek, it's something you need to awaken. And once you do, once you stop wasting it and start respecting it, you tap into a level of strength, clarity, and creativity that most people never touch. That's when life starts to shift. That's when you realize the truth. Sexual energy is not just about sex. It's the power to build, to lead, to transform, and to become the person you were born to be. Master that energy and you'll master your life. Every time you release your sexual energy aimlessly, you're giving away power that could have been used to build something great. Most people don't realize this, but the reason they feel drained, unmotivated, or mentally sluggish isn't because they're overworked or under-rested. It's because they're leaking energy. Day after day, scroll after scroll, release after release. They treat their life force like it's infinite, like it doesn't matter, like it won't catch up to them. But it does. It always does. Sexual retention isn't about shame or repression. It's about ownership. It's about understanding that you've been given a force so powerful, it can literally create life. Think about that. You hold within you the energy that can produce another human being. That's not small. That's not something to waste on late night distractions or empty habits. That's something to be revered, honored, and more than anything, protected. When you retain that energy, something starts to happen inside you. Your body responds, your posture shifts, your eyes sharpen, your voice carries more weight. Your mind becomes more focused. That's not superstition, it's biology. It's psychology. You're no longer working with an empty tank, you're charged. And that charge affects everything. You stop living in reaction mode and start living in creation mode. Retention builds pressure. And pressure creates transformation. Just like coal becomes diamond, under intense pressure, you begin to evolve when you stop draining your power. That energy, when contained, builds momentum. It gives you the fuel to hit the gym harder, to wake up earlier, to speak with confidence, to sit longer in meditation, to stay focused longer on your craft. You become more disciplined not because you're forcing it, but because you're naturally more energized. This is what most people are missing. They try to build a life of greatness while wasting the very fuel that greatness demands. They hustle, but they're hollow. They grind, but they're tired. They chase dreams with no gas in the tank. Retention is like flipping the switch back on. It's like plugging yourself into your full power source. And when you do, things start to shift. You don't need external motivation anymore. You become internally driven. You don't look for validation, you walk with presence. You don't need to be told to stay disciplined, you are disciplined. But here's the truth, it's not easy. Because everything around you is designed to weaken you. Porn, social media, casual flings, over-sexualized advertising, it's all pushing you to release constantly. To numb yourself, to keep you chasing pleasure and avoiding growth. That's the trap. That's what keeps men average. That's what keeps kings asleep. But if you can step outside that loop, if you can retain your energy and hold your ground, you become dangerous in the best way possible. Dangerous to laziness, dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to the version of you that settles for less. People will feel the shift. You'll feel the shift. There will be more clarity in your thoughts, more control in your emotions, more magnetism in your presence. You won't need to prove anything. Your energy will speak for you. And the best part, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about valuing yourself enough to stop wasting your most powerful resource and start channeling it into something real. Retention builds power, not just physical power, but mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. It's the foundation of self-mastery. It's what separates the distracted from the focused, the weak from the strong, the average from the elite. Holding on to your sexual energy is one thing, but what really changes your life is what you do with it. Energy on its own is potential. Raw, powerful, but dormant. It's like electricity running through a wire. If it's not grounded, if it's not connected to something meaningful, it either fizzles out or becomes destructive. That's why the real transformation happens through transmutation. The conscious redirection of sexual energy into something higher, something with purpose. Most people don't even know this is possible. They think sexual energy is a one-lane road. Either you indulge it or you suppress it, but that's a false choice. There's a third path, a stronger path. You don't push it down, you lift it up. You channel it into action, into creation, into purpose. That's transmutation. When you feel that surge of desire, that fire in your body, that's energy trying to move. But you get to choose the direction. Instead of letting it spiral out in a quick release, you can take that energy and push it into the gym, into your business, into your writing, your music, your mission. You can use it to power your goals instead of weakening your will. That's the key difference between living impulsively and living intentionally. Transmutation is a skill. It takes practice. At first, you'll feel the tension. You'll feel the urge to just release it the easy way. But if you can hold it, breathe through it, and reroute it into focused action, you start rewiring your brain. You teach your nervous system, this energy is not for wasting, it's for building. And over time, you become a master at it. Your urges don't control you anymore. You control them. And that's real freedom. Think about the greatest athletes, inventors, artists, and leaders. They all had intensity. That energy didn't come from nowhere. Most of them, whether they knew it or not, were transmuting their sexual energy into their craft. Nikola Tesla was celibate for most of his life, not out of shame, but because he understood the connection between retention and genius. Muhammad Ali famously said he wouldn't even look at women before a fight because he believed it made him more powerful. These weren't just discipline hacks. They were about channeling the fire into something greater. Sexual energy is the most primal, raw, and potent force inside of us. When it's used without purpose, it can destroy us, make us weak, distracted, addicted. But when it's harnessed and directed with purpose, it turns us into creators, warriors, leaders. It's the difference between a wildfire and a controlled flame. One burns you out, the other lights your path. Transmutation also sharpens your intuition. When you're not fogged up by constant release, you start to hear your inner voice more clearly. Your instincts get stronger. Your decisions become sharper. You start to act with precision and clarity instead of emotional impulse. You're no longer reacting to life, you're creating it. And that's where your power multiplies. The beauty of this process is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't have to be a monk. You don't have to live in a cave. You just have to start making the conscious choice. I'm going to use this energy, not lose it. One moment at a time, one decision at a time. That's how you rise. You master transmutation, and suddenly your drive, your creativity, your discipline, they all level up. You're not running on fumes anymore. You're running on pure focused fuel. And it shows in how you show up, in how you speak, in what you build. This is the secret the world won't teach you, but it's been inside you all along. Every time you feel a sexual urge, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to the same old cycle, instant gratification, followed by guilt, fatigue, and fog. The other path, that one's harder. That's the one where you face the fire and choose not to run from it. You hold the energy. You breathe through the pressure. And instead of being owned by the urge, you own it. That right there is the birthplace of mental discipline. People talk about being motivated, being consistent, leveling up, but none of that is possible without discipline. Discipline is the muscle that lifts you out of weakness and into power. And here's the truth that most won't say: your ability to control your sexual urges is directly tied to your ability to control your life. Because if you can master that, the most primal and persistent force inside you, you can master anything. You see, sexual urges aren't just distractions. They test this, they show up to see what you're made of. Are you just a slave to impulse? A puppet pulled by emotion and desire? Or are you a conscious creator of your own reality, someone who can feel the pull but stand tall anyway? Every time you choose mastery over indulgence, you're strengthening your mind. You're proving to yourself that you don't need to be ruled by instinct. You're forging grit. And this isn't about perfection or shame. This is about power. True power. Because discipline isn't just about saying no to things, it's about saying a bigger yes to your future. Every time you overcome that urge, you're sending a message to your subconscious: I am in control. I choose purpose over pleasure. I lead this life, not my cravings. And that message compounds. Over days, weeks, and months, you begin to trust yourself on a deeper level. That inner voice, the one that used to be drowned out by distractions, starts to get louder, clearer. And suddenly staying focused isn't a chore. It's who you are. Let's be real, this world is engineered to break your discipline. Every swipe, every click, every image, every dopamine hit is designed to pull you off your center, to keep you weak, passive, numb. But the moment you decide to take your power back, to stop giving in, to start standing tall, that's when you separate yourself from the average. That's when your energy becomes different. People feel it. You feel it. It radiates from you because it's earned, not faked. Discipline built through mastering urges doesn't just stay in one area, it spreads. You find it easier to wake up early. You push harder in the gym. You think longer before reacting. You focus deeper when you sit down to work. Your mind stops bouncing from distraction to distraction because you've trained it to obey you. And here's the thing, it's not always comfortable. In fact, it rarely is. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. Pain is part of the process, that internal friction. That's growth. That's where the real work is done. Every time you face an urge and choose not to give in, you become more than you were yesterday. You callous the mind. You strengthen your will. You sharpen your edge. And over time, you become someone who doesn't just react, you respond with intention. Someone who doesn't live on autopilot, but with awareness, with clarity, with power. So the next time you feel that pull, that craving, that flash of desire, pause. Don't run. You don't numb it. Stand in it. Let it teach you. Let it train you. Let it build you into someone who can hold tension without collapsing, someone who can hold fire without being burned. That's the kind of discipline that changes everything. Master the urge, and you master yourself. When you learn to control your sexual energy, you don't just gain physical strength, you gain emotional control. The connection between your sexual impulses and your emotional state is much deeper than most people realize. Every time you act on impulse, every time you chase a high without thinking, you're training yourself to react instead of respond. Over time, this builds a mind that is fragile, easily swayed, and dependent on external stimulation to feel okay. But when you take that power back, when you begin to master your sexual energy, you start to feel a shift. You don't just become more disciplined, you become more centered. Sexual energy, when unmanaged, creates emotional turbulence. Think about it. Every time you indulge in instant gratification, whether it's through porn, meaningless flings, or compulsive fantasies, you spike your dopamine. You get that hit of pleasure and then you crash. You feel guilt, emptiness, irritation, and then you chase another hit to feel better. This loop keeps your emotional state unstable. You swing between highs and lows, constantly searching for peace, but never quite finding it. You're not grounded. You're not steady. You're at the mercy of urges that have nothing to do with your deeper self. But when you start to control that energy, when you stop wasting it and start holding it, you break that cycle. Your emotions begin to level out. You're no longer being thrown around by waves of craving and regret. You become like the ocean deep, calm, powerful. You stop reacting to everything. You start observing, understanding, choosing. That's emotional intelligence in its purest form, not suppressing feelings, but having mastery over how you channel them. You'll notice it in your day-to-day life. You won't get irritated as easily. You won't feel the need to escape into fantasy when things get hard. You won't be as easily manipulated by flattery, temptation, or fear. Why? Because you're rooted. You're not giving away your energy at every opportunity, you're keeping it. And when you keep it, it nourishes your inner world. It strengthens your nervous system. It makes you more resilient under pressure, more thoughtful in your responses, more patient with your process. This emotional balance doesn't just benefit you, it affects how you show up for others. Your relationships get stronger, your conversations become deeper. You start listening instead of reacting. You hold space instead of trying to control. You become someone people trust not just because you speak well, but because you carry calm, collected energy. You're not looking for validation. You're not driven by neediness. You're solid, and people feel that. There's also a powerful spiritual element to this. Sexual energy, when held and refined, awakens something higher inside of you. Your intuition sharpens. You start feeling more connected to your values, to your vision, and to something greater than yourself. You're not pulled by lust, you're pulled by purpose. You start operating from your higher nature, not your lower instincts. This doesn't mean you never feel desire. You're human. You'll feel it. But you learn to hold it, breathe through it, and choose how to use it. That ability alone changes everything. Because when you can hold that kind of charge without being thrown off balance, you become a force. A man or woman with deep emotional control is not only rare, they are powerful, calm in chaos, clear in confusion, unshakable in storms. So understand this, sexual control isn't just about discipline, it's the gateway to emotional mastery. When you stop letting your urges run your emotions, you take the driver's seat in your life. You feel more, not less. But you respond with clarity, not compulsion. You become someone who doesn't just survive, you lead from a place of grounded power. True masculinity isn't about aggression, domination, or chasing women. It's not about how much money you have, how ripped you are, or how loud your voice is. Real masculinity is about control, direction, presence. And at the core of that lies your relationship with your sexual energy. If you can't master that, everything else is just noise. You can fake confidence, posture with status, flex strength, but if you're ruled by your urges, you're not in control. And if you're not in control, you're not in your masculine frame. Period. The truth is, we've been lied to. Society pushes a version of manhood that's shallow and destructive. It tells men that being masculine means chasing pleasure, proving yourself, consuming constantly. But that's not power, that's bondage. That's slavery to the lowest part of yourself. A man who can't go a week without giving in to lust, who needs porn to feel relaxed, who lets his focus shatter every time he feels desire, that man isn't free. He's not strong. He's not whole. He's been programmed to think his worth is tied to his impulses. That ends here. Sexual mastery is where true masculinity begins. Because when you take control of your energy, you take control of your mind. You build discipline that doesn't just show up in your sexual habits, it shows up everywhere. In your work ethic, in your emotional responses, in your relationships, in your ability to lead, protect, and provide. Masculinity without discipline is dangerous. It becomes chaotic, reactive, destructive. But when it's grounded in control, it becomes focused, powerful, and deeply rooted. A man who masters his sexuality doesn't need external validation. He's not chasing attention. He's not desperate to prove anything. He walks into a room and his presence speaks louder than his words. Why? Because he's holding energy. Not just physical tension, but purposeful tension. It's in his posture, his eyes, his voice. He's built from the inside out. There's a calm aggression to him, not violent, but potent. He's a storm in stillness, and people feel it. This level of control allows you to bring direction into your life. Because when you're no longer pulled by distraction, you can move with focus. You're not split between mission and temptation. You're not wasting hours on cheap thrills that drain your ambition. You're putting everything you've got into becoming the man you were meant to be. Sexual energy becomes fuel, not a chain. You use it to build, not burn. And in relationships, this mastery creates polarity. It brings clarity to your masculine presence, making you a grounded container. You're not needy. You're not emotionally chaotic. You're not seeking approval. You are the mountain, unmoved, solid, clear. That kind of presence creates trust. It deepens connection. It allows you to lead with heart and strength. That's what real masculine energy is. Safe intensity, deep power that doesn't dominate but commands, that doesn't control others but is in control of self. Sexual mastery doesn't mean avoidance. It means alignment. It's not about rejecting your desire. It's about rising above it and leading it. That's the mark of a strong man. A king doesn't chase pleasure. He channels it. He holds his energy like a sword, not swinging exactly when and how to use it. That's the difference. That's what separates boys from men, kings from consumers. So if you want to step into your highest self, it starts here. With your energy, with your discipline, with your ability to hold fire without letting it burn you. You become the master of your impulses, not the victim. You walk with purpose. You speak with clarity. You live with power. Because once you master your sexuality, you unlock the foundation of who you are as a man. and nothing can shake you after that.